We're alive. We're alive. We're back for episode 6. Small. We don't even do. We don't even go
Small. We will soon do episode 10.
episode 10. No, for sure, for sure. I feel like we just started this yesterday, but it feels like we've definitely put in the work in for sure.
It's because it's because of the amount of recording we've done that the world hasn't seen.
Nah, facts. But how's your weekend been? How are you feeling?
It's good. I mean, today's Monday, back to the grind, back to the same old, same old.
Dang,
I have grievances, but I will not express them on this episode.
what do you mean? Please enlighten us. Please share.
Nah, because they still pay my check.
Oh, wait, did you work today? Like you were not off?
Yeah, I went to work today.
Oh, okay. I understand. That's tragic. So
Today is MLK Day, and
Mhm.
most people don't go to work today, but I did.
I feel bad for you, my brother. I was definitely off today, so I enjoyed the long weekend. Took my sweet time before I went to the gym, got some work done, some personal work, and then now we're recording today. So it's been a good day for sure.
Yeah, I had a long day at work, and I was in office.
Oh,
I have
that's
another grievance, but once again, I'll table it for another episode 50. Here are my grievances about
that's
employment.
tough. That's tough. But I
Yeah,
mean, what can we do about it? That's why we're here. That's why we're here
that's
talking
why
about
we're
money.
here. That is
That's why
exactly why
we're
we're
here talking
here.
about money, That's why we're here talking about money. How are
So you
we how
can,
are we
so
gonna
you can
get out of
decide
it?
what you wanna, so you can decide what you wanna do with it.
Exactly.
All
All
right,
right, introduce us
let me go
to
ahead
what
up.
we're talking about today.
Yeah, let me get us. No, don't tell me what to do. I was about to do it anyways.
My fault, big man. My fault.
Now I'm not going to introduce us. Now we just got to sit here. All right. So, welcome, you guys. Welcome to episode 6 of Common Sense Pod, where we are documenting our journey as two first-generation Nigerian-American millennials, trying to figure it out financially, and hopefully we all learn a thing or two as we embark on this journey. I'm your host, Dami, and here's my co-host, Umar. Today's conversation is going to be around credit cards.
Now I'm really excited for this one. I think this is definitely a good topic. Wait, quick question. How many credit cards do you have?
I have 4.
4. Okay. I have 2. So on average between us, that's 3.
3.
And yeah, okay. I think that's on par for how many credit cards like an average adult has today. So the reason why I think is important because on average we have 2, 3, 4 credit cards, but a lot of people don't really know how to use them the proper way, or they don't know some of the terms that come with using a credit card, and so they could end up falling some of the pitfalls that comes with using your credit card if you're not using it the right way, or just making decisions that are not necessarily smart financially, and then end up falling in this financial crisis when it comes to credit card. So I think this is definitely a good one we can talk about, share our experience, share our knowledge, and hopefully people can learn from it as well.
For sure. First of all, how's my voice? Sound good?
Hey, people might think I'm the conceited one, but it's this dark skin man here, bro.
Hey, don't do that now. Don't let us. That's how they stay on top of us. Like they put us against each other. No need for colorism, brother. It's all love.
Your voice sounds fine. It sounds good.
Thank you. Okay, great. Uh, so you just asked how many credit cards we have. What would you say is a credit card, or what is a credit card to you?
I'll say a credit card is really like a product from financial institutions where they borrow you a certain amount of money, like your set limit, and then they already have predefined interest rate that you have agreed to pay if you end up accruing interest on this product. Simple as that. How about you?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I think you find it well. It's like it's a short-term loan.
Yeah.
And like you said, the terms of it have already been determined and accepted by both parties. So if you decide to use a credit card, you've accepted the terms for that short-term loan.
No, yeah, just like a quick fact. So credit cards are really one of like the major line of business that banks like make a lot of their money on because they're making money one from interest of like balances that are rolling over. They make money from late fees. So people that are not paying off their credit cards are not paying off their credit cards on time. There's a late fees added to that. So just imagine like tens of millions of customers getting credit cards from a bank. They're going to making a lot of money if they're not managing their cards the right way. And so the reason that we're talking about this today is that we want to make sure that we're not among the people that are giving the banks back any of our money, and that we're using our credit cards the right way for sure.
So how do you feel about Trump saying he's going to put credit card rates down to 10% for a year?
Trump really just be saying anything just for headlines, really. Like he makes things look shiny and look attractive for people to buy in, but not necessarily giving like the full picture. So I think his idea is that if credit cards are 10%, people would borrow money more, spend money more, boost the economy. But if you're doing that for
Mhm.
only a year, okay, what happens after that year where the APR is back up to 30, 40% and you still have this high balance? Now you're in more of a debt. So he just makes it look shiny, but I mean, I'm not for that at all. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's been a lot of backlash from the banks as well of not necessarily being on board for that 10%.
Yeah, I don't think the banks are going to go for it because just like how you were talking, it's a major way in how they make money. And it's just like APRs, like percentages don't even be like 20s anymore. I think the numbers are like closer to 30%. So like
Yeah.
from 30 to 10%, you're basically taking away 2/3 of the money we're making. So no, it's not going to happen. It's too much money on the line for that to happen.
I mean, it could help the consumer if they're utilizing it the right way. But then on the other side, like the institution side, the financial side, like you said, it is them losing a huge chunk of profit as well. So I don't know. I was reading something that the Supreme Court could make a decision on it as soon as like Tuesday, so sometime this week. So maybe we'll have some update in our next episode as well. So that would be something to look out on for sure. All right. So going back to credit cards, whenever we are in the market of trying to get a new credit card, there are some terms that we need to be familiar with just to understand what's going on, what these terms mean in terms of if we can get a credit card, what interest rate we can get it at, and just to make sure we're making the right decision. So starting off, what would you say is one of the more important terms that we need to know when it comes to credit cards?
Probably the most important term when it comes to a credit card is your APR, which is your
Hmm.
annual percentage rate. And
Yeah.
simply put, it's just the rate at which you're borrowing money. So, like, when you know your APR, you know how much it costs you to borrow that money. APRs are usually between like 15 and like 40% these days because APRs are a lot higher.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot higher nowadays for sure.
not making sure you know the rate at which you're borrowing money is really important so you can have a plan for paying it back. You know whether it's worth borrowing the money or not, depending on what rate you're given.
Yeah, like, imagine if you're getting an APR of, like, 50%. Are you gonna get that credit card?
Nope. Unless I'm buying a winning lottery ticket or something.
Yeah, so that's definitely one that you need to pay attention of because it's not necessarily disclosed of when you're getting it. It's something that you have to look for in, I guess, the term agreement. Okay, how
Yeah,
much
terms,
but
yeah.
yeah, what is the APR moving forward? And if you don't like it, don't get that credit card pretty much. All right, another one that people need to be aware of when it comes to using their credit cards is creditization. So pretty much that's the percentage of your available credit that you're currently using. So let's say for example, you got a credit card, the limit is $10,000. You want your creditization to be right about 10 to 30%, preferably 10%, but that's on the lower side. But you don't want it to exceed that 30% because that's when you start getting on the higher side of your creditization, and then it can start affecting you negatively. So for a $10,000 for a $10,000 card limit, you want to be right about you want to be right about $1,000, where that's what you're spending before you're paying that off because you're making sure utilization is not crossing that 10% threshold. And then if you're doing that consistently, you'll see how it positively affects your credit. So that's one that you should pay attention to whenever you get a card.
So another good one is your statement date and your due date. So your statement date covers the period for which each statement of credit card usage is from. So your statement date starts at a particular period in the month, and after your statement date you get your due date, which you're charged interest for the period that just passed by. So knowing your statement date and your due date are important as well, because you have to
Mhm.
know what the period for which you are borrowing money is from, and you have to know when that money is due.
Yeah,
Ideally, you
when you
pay
have to
your
bring that
money
to you.
before your due date, but due date at latest, you should make your payment.
Yeah, you wanna make sure you're always paying before that due date, so, like you said, you're not occurring that late fee. Another one is your credit history. So this pretty much records how long you've been responsible with using credit. So if you're missing a payment, that's gonna stay on your credit history. So you wanna make sure that's not something that, you get in the habit of doing or something you do at all, because I think we were talking about this, Dami, that anything below 100% is deemed unacceptable, or what were you like, how did you put
Basically. Yeah, I
it?
mean, once you miss a payment, you're unreliable when it comes to borrowing money. Like,
Unreliable, exactly,
so
exactly.
you could pay your money back 99% of the time, but that 1% makes you unreliable. And when
Mhm.
it comes to credit, if you're not at 100%, then you're not reliable, and you will take a hit on your credit.
Yep. So you wanna make sure that that's something that you always get squared away. Don't miss any payments. Make sure you're making at least some type of payment. But yeah.
Another good one to know is your minimum payment. So your minimum payment is the minimum amount the bank will take from you in order to not charge you a late fee. So if you owe, I don't know, like 5K on a card, your minimum payment might be like $100. So $100 is the money that the bank is basically charging you so that they don't charge you a late fee for the whole 5K. It's their way of making like, okay, we understand you're putting money towards this, and it's that amount allows them to stretch it far so they can keep making money off of you for a long period of
Mhm.
time. We don't do minimum payments over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we stay away from minimum payments. You wanna make sure you're paying slightly above that or above that where you can get out of that debt quickly.
hmm If you check your statement, it shows how long it'll take you to pay your debt with just your minimum payment. And
Mhm.
then somewhere around there, there'll be another number that's not going to be that much higher than your minimum payment. And it shows how long it'll take to pay off your debt with that number. I would go with that number if you don't know how much to pay. Don't pay your minimum payment. Pay more than it, even if it's just $1.
And then I think the last one just kind of ties everything together that we've talked about, from like APR, your creditization, your credit history. So that's pretty much your credit score. So this is, I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with the credit score. If you don't know your credit score, definitely go figure that out. But pretty much it is a 3-digit number that shows how trustworthy you are as a borrower. So whenever we go to a bank, we go to the dealership, we're trying to get some type of credit, they're going to ask what your credit score. And from that credit score, that's how to decide whether they what interest rate they're going to give you. Pretty much what they're looking at is, if we borrow you this money, how trustworthy are you to pay it back? Because obviously no one likes losing this money, especially like businesses. And so if they're going to borrow you money, they're going to make sure they can get their money back. And if you become and so let's say, for example, you do have a lower credit score, now they're going to give you a higher interest rate. And if they give you a higher interest rate, if you're unable to make your payment, now you're even in a bigger hole of owing a higher amount than you should, because you have a low credit score. So the best solution to prevent this is just make sure you have a clean credit history where, okay, you're making your payments on time, you're not missing any payment, and you're just paying your credit cards where you're not falling into that credit card debt.
Nice. Thank you for that. Um, Eloquent explanation
I
from
try, I try, I try.
our finance expert over here.
Hey, that's you. I'm just trying to be like you, my bro.
I hear you. I'm trying to be like you. So, moving on from that conversation, let's talk a little bit why credit cards are important or why they matter.
Yeah, I think personally for me, I think one of the important ones is because credit cards are one of the easiest way to build your credit. So we live in America where everything runs on credit. No one really pays full price for anything from furniture to TVs to like your vehicle or your house. Nothing is paid in full. You're getting a loan from a bank or some type of financial institution, which is basically credit, and then you're making monthly payments on these things. And so for you to be able to do any of that, to be able to get a mortgage, to get an auto loan, you want to have good credit because you don't want to be you don't want to be unable to do these things, or you don't also want to have like a high payment than you need to while doing these things. And so having a credit card is the easiest way to establish that you are trustworthy when it comes to making payments on credit. So I think that's really one of the reasons why a credit card is really valuable in this economy.
Another reason why credit cards are important or why they matter is that if you're using a credit card well, it teaches you discipline because you have all this money available to you. But if you're using it the right way, you're not spending more than what you have, or you're not over leveraging yourself by excessively swiping the card. So,
Nah, facts.
proper use of a credit card will teach you discipline in the long run.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I think discipline is one of those key factors that you need to have, especially when having a credit card, because we have the facade that there is money that we have that's not actually ours, but we think is ours. And so having discipline to only spend what you can afford, that definitely comes into play when it comes to credit cards. All right. So we've been talking about credit cards, and from what we've been saying, people might think that we feel negatively when it comes to credit card. But I think we just want to make sure people don't fall into some of these pitfalls. So what are some of the mistakes that people need to avoid when it comes to credit cards?
So I think a big pitfall people fall into, or a big trap people fall into, is making their minimum payment only.
Yeah,
You should try to pay more than your minimum payment, even if it's just $1. Just pay more than it because minimum payments are a trap to keep you owing this money forever. If you're making only your minimum payments, you're not paying the debt off. All you're doing is stretching it out.
you're stretching out. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, that's a good one. I think, like we said earlier, you want to avoid making minimum payments because you want to get out of that debt quicker and not just prolong it. Another one is being taking away emotional spending when it comes to credit card. Like I said earlier, people might think because they have a high credit limit that that's their money, but it's not really your money. It's like it's fake money, it's monopoly money. It's really the money you own is what's in your checking account where you can spend from your debit card. So if you're not able to pay it off with what's in your debit card, don't go spending it on your credit card because that's easily how you can keep swiping, keep adding that information, that card detail online. And before you know it, you're at your card limit, you're over that creditization limit, and you're not able to pay that off. Then you're carrying a balance from month to month. So that's
Mhm.
definitely one of the pitfalls that people should avoid when it comes to the credit cards.
Another one on the other side of making minimum payments, the other side of that is making late payments. So you kind of mentioned it earlier, but just like missing one payment makes you unreliable as a borrower. It's going to affect your credit score, and it's going to be a major effect on your credit score. So you want to maintain that perfect payment history. You never want to miss a payment.
Yeah, like you always want to keep that 100% payment history. Don't miss payment. And even if you do, like if you notice, once you notice that, call your bank, see if you can get that missed payment resolved. Because most times, if this is your first offense, they can definitely help you with that. But if that's a recurring thing, you might just have to set up that auto pay. Set up that auto pay where they just take the money out monthly, so you don't have to worry about it.
If that's a
Uh,
recurring thing, you're already cooked.
you're
You're already cooked.
No, definitely, definitely. Because I think like banks, they usually give you like three limits of like canceling like missed payments or stuff like that. So yeah, definitely don't be in that situation because that's how you
No.
affect your credit score negatively.
Yep.
Um, I'll say another pitfall that people need to avoid is getting cards for the wrong reason. So a big one that I've seen recently is people getting travel cards or like Amex Platinum cards when they don't really see when they're not necessarily getting the perks from it. So if you get a travel card that has a high annual fee, you have to make sure uh you have to make sure you're getting the perks that come with it, that it balances out the annual fee that you're paying for it. So if you're not someone that travels a lot, there's no reason why you should be getting a travel card. If you're not someone that dines out a lot, there's no reason why you should be getting a dining out card. So just stuff like that, just making sure you're getting cards for the right reason. That's another pitfall that people need to avoid when it comes to credit card.
So let's switch to the other side then. Talk to us about the right way to use a credit card.
For me, how I use my credit card is I treat it as a debit card, and I think this is really like an efficient way to go about it. Like I've mentioned before, if you don't have the money in your checking account, you don't have it on your debit card, don't use your credit card because you're just over leveraging yourself, spending money you don't have. So if you can't pay it off right away because you have the money in your debit card, go ahead and use your credit card because using your credit card, you can get points, you can get rewards, you can get some type of benefit from it. But if you're just using your credit card while you don't have money to pay it off, now you're just putting yourself in a hole. So
Yep.
that would be my number one way of using credit cards the right way. Use it as a debit card and just use it for the perks that comes with it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. If you treat your credit card like a debit card, you'll escape most of the problems that come with having a credit card.
Yeah,
Um, Honestly, I mean, like most problems come from not treating it like a debit card. So if you treat it like a debit card, you eliminate a lot of the problems that come with owning a credit card. But I'd say another one is to pick a card that matches your lifestyle.
for sure,
So
for
if
sure.
you're a traveler, maybe a travel card is good for you. If you're someone who maybe you're a foodie and you make content for the food you eat, then you should get a card that gives you good rewards from like
Like
restaurants. And
cashbacks, yes.
yeah, exactly. So just having that type of thought process in mind or um will help you choose a card that's right for you and you'll get max benefits for the card you choose in accordance
No,
to your lifestyle.
No, yeah, I think that's an important one as well because I remember before I got one of my cars, I think I was looking at my credit card statement and then I saw that I was spending a lot of money on gas. So I'm like, okay, this was a cashback card, but I was only getting like 2% cashback on gas, while there were some credit cards that were like giving 6% like for using the cars at gas stations. So I did the math that okay, if I spend this amount of money like annually on gas and this is the annual amount that I have to pay for this credit card, is it balancing off? And I think I was making it like $20 more than I was paying. So I spent let's say like the annual fee for this car was like $90. I was spent with the cash back from that car, I was gonna make $110. So it's like, okay, I mean, it's paying for itself in the long run, so why not? So yeah, so that's definitely one of the things that you want to look at, making sure you're doing some type of research or analysis and make sure you're getting the right card for your life that matches your lifestyle. All right, perfect, perfect. I liked how we talked about okay, the pitfalls and then how we can avoid those pitfalls. Some another thing that people I've heard people talk about are misconceptions when it comes to credit cards. So what's one that you've heard of recent?
For me, a common misconception I've always heard about credit cards is that if you close a card, it's going to destroy your credit. And that's not necessarily true. If you close a credit card, yes, it will have an impact on your credit score, but that doesn't mean it will necessarily drop it. So if we look at two different scenarios, scenario A, we have an individual. He wants to close a credit card, his first credit card. He has four credit cards. He wants to close his first credit card, and that card has his highest balance. Is also the one he's had the longest. If he closes that card, his overall credit limit will go down because that's
Mhm.
his card with the highest available credit. And his average credit age will also go down
Go
because
down,
that's
yeah.
the card he's had the longest. So his credit score is most definitely going to drop. He's losing a lot from his credit limit. He's losing a lot from his credit age. But if we look at scenario B, this person would like to close a card they got 2 years ago. Their average credit age is like 7 years. So by closing this card that has a 2 year credit age, they're bringing the average back up. And then it's their newer card. They might have like a smaller balance on it. So let's say he has a 50K total credit limit and this card just has 2K on it. So this is a 2K card, and he's also had it for 2 years. If he closes that card, it'll bring his credit limit down a little bit by $2,000, but $2,000 is just um a small
It doesn't
percentage of
yeah, it
50K.
doesn't really affect
Yeah.
the credit limit, yeah.
And by closing that card up an average of 2 years, when his average is 7 years, it's going to increase his average credit age. So there is a world where a person in that type of situation, their credit score goes up from closing a
Closing
card,
yeah,
or at
closing
least
that
it
card.
balances to where it barely moves. It doesn't move too many points up or down from where it is. So
Yeah.
closing a credit card will not always destroy your credit. It's situational.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's definitely situation based where not all scenarios would lead to it affecting your credit score negatively. So yeah, that was a good breakdown. That was a good one for people to see like different scenarios of how that can affect your credit history. Another misconception that I've heard as well is you need to carry a balance to build your credit. This is I don't so this is not necessarily correct. I think the idea behind this is that you want to make sure you're showing some type of credit activity. You want to make sure you're showing some type of activity with that account month to month to make sure it doesn't become inactive. So I think that's the idea behind this misconception. But because carrying a balance month to month, you're going to end up incurring interest. And why would you want to incur interest, extra money? Why would you want to pay extra money that you don't need to pay? So you want to make sure you're using the card month to month and then paying it off if you can at the end of the month so you're not incurring any type of interest moving forward. But yeah, so just to debunk that misconception, you don't have to carry balance for you to build your credit.
Yep. That's another good one as well. So those are really solid. I think we've gone through most aspects or most important aspects of credit cards.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure. For sure.
let's move on to our favorite section of the show. Is it making sense? I'll
Hey, let's
present
get
you
it.
with a scenario and you'll let me know if it's making sense or not.
All right, let me hear it. Let's get it.
Cool. So my partner is an aspiring traveler and she would like to go get a travel car with an annual limit of $400 on it. Is it making sense or not? Annual fee, not annual
Annual
limit.
fee. Yeah, yeah. I figured that's what you meant. So yeah. Okay. So partner wants to get a travel card. The annual fee is $400. Is it making sense or not? I'm the understanding one here. I'm not a dictator. So I won't just shut it down and be like, oh, it's not making sense or not. But I think, girls, I don't want to generalize anything
Are you
here.
turning this into a gender war?
But sometimes you just need to like break down things for people to understand better. People to understand better.
Mm,
So I think in this scenario, I would just show like the pros and cons, or let's do some type of analysis in this situation to see if we are getting up to $400 worth of perks with this travel card. So, aspiring traveler, is this person traveling already? When was the last time they traveled? How many trips have they taken in the past year? If all of that is if we can show that, okay, in this next cycle, we're going to take as many trips as we need, that's going to give us some type of benefit with using this card, it is making sense. But if you're only taking one trip this year and you think a $400 travel card is making sense, it's not making sense. So I think it's really just scenario based and understanding if you're going to be using the card enough to get the benefit of the card.
I agree. That was a good one. I would like to say it's to be determined.
Exactly, exactly. It's not just like, oh, it's not making sense or not, because people use travel cards properly and get good perks from it. I know you said previously that you got a free flight from that. So I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, if you're using it the right way, there are definitely perks, but it's not just something you just close your eyes and do. You have to make sure it is the right decision.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you ain't just shut that down. But I mean, who knows? People change.
Oh, I'm not. I'm very open to like new ideas. I don't just shut things down without considering the possibilities.
Got you. Got you.
All right, okay, the next one. All right, so you have this young man. He goes to a dealership. He finds a car that he likes, and so when it comes to making a down payment, he decides to use his credit card for the down payment. But mind you, he has the cash at hand in his debit card and in his checking account for the down payment. He's just using the credit card because he wants to get points or some type of perks that comes with the card. Is this making sense or not?
Only makes sense for one thing you said is that he has the money. So I would
Hmm.
never advise someone to use a credit card to make a down payment. But because he has the money, this person is just taking advantage of the financial system. So let's say he's making a 10K down payment and he gets 3% back on all purchases. So if he goes there and swipes that card for 10K and pays it right back right after, he basically just got $300 for free. So it's making sense.
No, yeah, that's definitely something that um I'll say is making sense because, like you said, you already have the money on hand. You already have the money on hand, and so if you use your credit cards, you know that you're getting some type of cash back or some type of perk. Why not just use your credit card and then pay it off right away? But I like how you pointed out that fact at first, that if you don't have the money, don't use your credit card to make any type of
Mm-mm.
down payment, because now you're just putting yourself in this lump sum of debt with not having the money available to pay it off. So yeah, I like how you preface that initially, but it is making sense on my end for sure. No, last one. Let's wrap this up. Okay, so you have someone making multiple payments on their credit card cycle to pay it off quickly. Is that making sense or not?
So this one makes sense as well. Or it makes sense two different ways. So this person they could either be paying extra every cycle. So if their minimum payment is $100, they could be paying the $100 and then paying an extra 50. So that makes sense because you're paying that 50 directly to your principal and knocking down how much you owe. But it could also be vice versa. They have $100 minimum payment and they're making two payments of $50. So that also makes sense because you're reducing the amount. So if your minimum payment is $100, you pay $50 within the first week or so. Now, every day when your interest is being calculated, it's being calculated at $50 less than it would
Yeah.
be because you paid
Hmm.
half of it already. So you're not going to notice a bunch of savings initially, but if you compare it to someone who just makes one payment on their due date, you'll save a bunch of money after a long period of time. So it's making sense.
No, yeah, I think yeah, it is a way just to reduce that interest that you might incur if you're not making the full balance amount. So yeah, so it is making sense. They are trying to leverage making that multiple payments to reduce their overall balance. All right, I think those were good scenarios that we touched on just to give perspective of different ways people might be using their credit cards. Moving on. I think this is a segment that people look forward to as well, where we talk about what's going on in the economy, what's happening in the finance, the stock market, and just politics as a whole. So, what do you have for us, our in-house financial expert?
So yeah, we talked about the 10% cap on credit cards already.
Yeah.
I think we both are in agreement that it's very unlikely that it happens. But who knows? I mean, this guy has shown us that he's very able, so he might surprise us again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I think we should have some update for the by the next episode for sure. But I mean, yeah, like
Yeah,
you said, Trump, he somehow he gets things done. I mean, even
yeah.
if the majority are not in support of it, so you never know
Mhm.
with him for sure. Another thing that is related to that as well is the U.S. trying to take over Greenland. Like, what is going on with that?
Yeah, that's a wild one because I think it's because of its strategic positioning because of where Greenland is, but like
Mhm.
that one kind of caught me off guard, and so I've just been reading up on it a little bit to try to figure out why Greenland is of high importance. But apparently, Greenland is like run or owned by another country, so
Denmark,
it's like
yeah, I think Denmark.
Denmark, yeah, Denmark. So it's kind of like the U.S. is just usurping Denmark and claiming this land. So we gotta see how this goes. But I
No,
mean,
yeah.
it's just big bank take little bank. The U.S. always just we just assert our dominance on smaller countries and do what we want.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what he's trying to do. But I saw that also because of that, because of the opposition that he is getting from those European countries, he imposed like a 10% tariffs from any of the goods that are coming from that country.
Yeah,
And so now it's like, okay, now it is affecting the economy where, okay, like similar to like whenever he talked about tariffs initially, we did see some stocks like have some type of pullback because of that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you never know. I mean, just because like you never know what to expect when it comes to this administration. So like, because he
Hmm.
wants to take control of that, he thinks like imposing a tariff is the best way to go about that. And now we're gonna feel that effect in the stock market once it opens back up tomorrow. So this is just like a chain reaction. Just one thing causes another thing to happen, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. we do all of our bidding on the weekends, so we just gotta see. Another thing that I noticed is that they said the Saudi Arabian stock market will be open to the rest of the world. Any thoughts there?
No, yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I think that's interesting because that's opening a whole new like stock exchange for people to invest in. So that's new companies for people to look at, new types of profit margins to invest in. So I mean, there might be some opportunities. I'm not familiar with any of like the companies that would be on the stock market, so it would be interesting to see. But I mean, another thing I know is just like the tax implications that comes with that because I know like owning foreign stocks that does have like a different type of like tax strategy applied to it. So that would be one thing. Like if that's something that you're interested in, that you have to pay attention to, like how would those stocks be taxed, pretty much.
That is a
But
good
yeah,
point there with the taxes. I don't think the average person's not thinking about that. So
no,
it's
you know how I know that because when I'm doing my taxes, I see like TSM. TSM is it
Taiwan.
TSM? Yeah, is a foreign company, a foreign owned company, whatever stock.
Yeah.
So there's
So it's taxed
different,
differently.
yeah, it's tax different. So yeah, so
Interesting. Some nuggets there, especially for this time of the year. So that's a good one.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Speaking of taxes, people's tax returns are supposed to be larger this year because of the big beautiful bill last year.
I heard that. I heard that. I mean, I don't know how specifically it is going to increase your return, but that's something I have heard. So we'll see. Have you filed your taxes yet?
Nah, I haven't. I wait until I need it.
Oh, facts, man, facts.
I'm being
I'm like,
honest. I wait till I need it.
no, being honest, like I'm one of those like stragglers that okay, how many days left to the deadline? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then I'll get it done.
But yeah, we'll see how people's taxes are affected. There's some other stuff, but they changed a few tax policies. So like people, tips and all that stuff. But there's some other things that are affecting people's taxes. Like I gotta check back into
But yeah,
what I
reading,
was
no,
reading.
definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
if I notice like my return is higher, or I don't know if it's
You'll come
if
tell
I
us.
notice a drastic difference, I might have to look into it just to understand like what actually. I'm not telling
Okay.
nobody that.
If you get a little extra tax money, come do a giveaway for the people.
Hell no. I need people to do giveaway for me.
See, this is why we don't have no subscribers. You're not trying to give back to the people.
All right. Maybe that would be like at the end of the year. We're still growing. We're still growing. All
Yeah,
the
see, I like that. See how you talking about I'm an open-minded individual and you just shut that down. That's crazy.
once we start making a little money, maybe we'll do a giveaway for
Yeah, we do
our
a little giveaway
stuff,
for our loyal people.
for sure. For
Do you
sure.
have anything else? I mean, Netflix has their earnings tomorrow. So, any thoughts?
I mean, after their 10-1 split, I mean, the stock has not really performed as well, or hasn't held that like
Hasn't moved well, yeah.
yeah, it hasn't it's been on a decline after that 10-1 split. And so I mean, who knows, after this there we might see some type of some type of activity happening with the stock where it does rebound. But honestly, I mean, I feel like Netflix, it's a good stock to own. I think the 10-1 split made it more available for retail investors. And so yeah, so I definitely caught me a couple of Netflix stocks. And so hopefully with this earnings report because I do feel like it does have good fundamentals. The technicals don't look bad. It's just okay. Now it was just like a pullback because we did like reach all time highs like before the split, and so now it's okay. What is it going to look like moving forward?
Hmm. Yeah, I would like to assume they have a good earnings because Netflix does better in the latter half of the year.
Yeah,
Just like most people that sell things, they do better in the second half of the year, especially Q4. So I want to say they'll do well, but no one knows for sure. But they did. Netflix is taking over the NFL on Christmas.
yeah.
They're
The
adding
Christmas
more
Day,
live
more
boxing
live
stuff.
events.
They just added podcasts and they got all of iHeart. Not all of it. I think it's all actually. I think all of iHeart is on Netflix now. So like, if not this earnings season, the next one will be great for sure. But
You,
I got a
you know
Netflix
what it
call. I'm
is?
in.
They're trying to switch their business model like similar to like YouTube where they
YouTube.
have
Yeah.
every type of media on
Mhm.
there. So yeah, like that was a good thing you mentioned, like the whole podcast. You can now listen or watch your podcast
Mhm.
on Netflix. Like that's crazy to imagine.
I mean, it was crazy enough to know that Netflix was hosting a Christmas game like
Uh-huh.
for NFL. I thought that was insane. And they were paying for the halftime show. They had Beyonce last year, and I forgot. I think they just did Post Malone this year. I don't know who they did this year, but Netflix is letting their footprint being seen in different areas. So, like you said, I like Netflix stock. I've been buying it a lot more this past year. I wasn't a big buyer. Well, in 2025, I didn't buy it much in 2024, but 2025, I made sure to buy it. And I'm in a Netflix call right now, so hopefully this earnings shows me some love.
We'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed for you, brother.
I got time,
Uh,
so I mean, you know, I think I got it till like the summer, so I mean, it won't
okay,
kill me,
okay, yeah.
but yeah, you know how earnings goes.
Nah, yeah, we've talked about that. So, but like you said, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it is. You do have a good time frame on that, so
Mm.
should be good.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yep.
I like. Okay, I think that was a good overview of what's happening in the stock market and the economy as a whole. Yeah, we're just as things go on, like we said, nothing. We never know what's happening in this Trump administration, so we're always going to give our own feedback or on analysis of what's going on in the market, just for you to hear our perspective as well. Any closing words for the people before we close this out?
Thank you guys for sitting with us for another episode of Common Sense. Like, comment, subscribe, follow on socials if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. Well, with that, we've come to the end of episode 6 of Common Sense Pod, where we're all trying to make sense of our sense. Thank you.
Peace.
Bless.